We want to have fun. We want to have a good time. We want to party with our friends. We want to meet new friends. Hello, beautiful humans. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today, I'm going to be taking you through my festival essential checklist, what you'll need, especially if you're in a tent. And then I'm also going to be taking you through some of my vibe essential checklists. Some things like what should you do with your crew, even encouraging you to go to a festival alone. So I'm going to let you guys know how to get your hands on a checklist yourself so you can make sure that you don't miss anything this festival season and you have everything you could possibly need. If you've got a van, that's great. I'm going to give you a few extra tips on things you can bring if you're in a van, like having a dressing gown is really nice, so good if you have to pop out and go to the toilet. Having a broom is really good to make sure you can sweep out all your camp. If you're going to be in a tent, some of those things might be luxuries you don't need, but otherwise the classic tent, mullet, air mattress and pump, sleeping bag, pillows, blankets, tarpaulins is so important if it's going to be raining to make sure that you can waterproof your structures, depending on the land, to put something underneath your tent to protect from the cold, the wet, and protect your stuff in your tent getting wet as well. And then you also want some sort of shade structure. Having a gazebo that you can make all nice with your friends is always a really good idea. Even if a festival says you can't have a gazebo, bring it, put it up, keep telling them you're going to put it down. Festival runners will probably get annoyed at me saying that, but shade is really important. Even if you put a gazebo over your tent, that will mean that you're getting double protection, you have a bit of outside protection, and buying a really good reusable one, an easy pop-up one. My one has lights built into it and it makes such a big difference. And then some ground blankets. You can have some floor mats. You can have extra blankets that you don't mind getting grubby as well, that you can put over camp chairs. You want a camp table, camp stove, cookware, anything like that if the festival allows it. Some want you to just buy food on site, which is super easy as well. You don't have to bring any of the extra cooking gear, which is really nice. But if you can, making sure that you're talking to your friends, then you can all share depending on what you like. You cook nachos on one day, we cook wraps on one day, and you bring the ingredients and makes it super easy. You can even pre-cook stuff and freeze it. It'll keep it really nice in your bag for a while. And then a camp shower. I did get a new pump one. Not sure how it's going to go, but I literally just put sheets around the back of my van and boom, I have a shower. It's great. I normally put a mirror over here, so I have this kind of space as like my dressing room area, and then I always just let all my friends use that, so that's really nice. Okay, binder clips are always good. You can hang up your camp decor, you can clip your structures together, especially if it's going to be raining. And you always want to make sure you're prepared for a rainy festival. There's nothing like a good festival ruin if you've got no warm clothes and you can't sleep and everything's muddy, so make sure you're prepared for the bad weather. Okay, we're almost at the end of this section. So last of all, we've got rubbish bags. Always take your rubbish home. We've got paper towels. We've got an ice chest or a chili bin and ice. You can always buy extra ice at the festival. Some festivals don't do this, but any ice packs, even if it just gets you through the first few days. And then you want to make sure you've got a bin as well, something to put your rubbish in. I've just got this little black one here for my little van. And then you want to make sure you've got eco-friendly soap, so whatever you're putting down the drain will be good. Water for cooking. I normally bring a big 20-litre. Okay, so you're ready for your first festival. You always need to be prepared just as much as the last year, and it's going to make your experience at a festival so much better, so much more comfortable. So I'm going to go through the things you want to have as your essentials for your checklist, and then you can grab this for yourself at the end. Make sure you stick around. So first of all, you want to have your phone. You want to have a charger for your phone, a battery pack, and you want to make sure you have a wall plug as well, just in case you have access to any power or anything like that. And then, of course, you want to have your ID and you want to have a backup ID. And then you also want to have your keys, and you want to make sure you put them in a really safe spot and have a backup. The worst thing that could happen at the end of a festival is you can't find your keys to get out of there. You also want to make sure you have some cash, because cash is going to be your savior when it comes to needing to buy any extra things. It's also great if any FPOS terminals or anything like that end up getting shut down. And you want to make sure you obviously have your debit card, as well as your roadside assistance on you, your proof of insurance. That's always really good too. And then, of course, you want to have your ticket ideally printed out or just on your phone. It's pretty safe these days. And you also want to make sure you have the map and the directions to where you're going. You want to make sure you're allowing lots of extra time to get there. If you need to have any last minute stops, it's always good to end up getting an extra bag of ice and stuff like that right on the way, maybe a little bit of extra snacks or something in case you've forgotten anything. So make sure you allow lots of extra time to get where you need to be. If you're in a van too, having these kind of blocks to prop up your tires if you end up being on uneven ground. Okay, now we're up to the personal care and your survival on this festival ground. It can be pretty wild out there. You don't know if it's going to be raining or sunny, too hot or too cold, and you want to make sure that you're prepared for anything. So you want to have condoms, sunblock, insect repellent, sunglasses, and a backup pair, any prescription meds you'll need, chapstick, bandanas, or a scarf is also really good to make sure you can cover yourself. And you want to have a watch. You don't want to be missing your favorite acts. You don't want to be losing track of time and missing that person that you were really excited to see perform. And this is also a good way to make sure you can keep track of how you're having your water, if you're taking any sort of substances, tracking what time to take, how long is it going to last, when do I need to make sure I eat, when do I know when I want to go to bed at the right time, I'm going to be coming off anything so I can make sure that I can still have the best sleep ever, so I can make sure I can have a great second, third, fourth. And you want to have a mirror on you. Mirror is essential. I love having a long mirror. It's a lot easier in a van to have a full length mirror, but maybe if you're in a little tent, maybe just something little that you can use. Also a little pocket mirror, something you can do your makeup with and just check yourself before you wreck yourself. And a flask is always a good idea. I like having it to make a hot tea or put my coffee in to keep it warm. Or you could even have an alcoholic flask where you can put it in and you can have a nice little shot when you need to. You obviously want hats. You might need 2 hats. You might want a big sun hat. You might just want this little one that's multi-use and is warm and also protects from the sun. You want to have moisturizer, deodorant. Please wear deodorant. Even if you are like me and don't often wear deodorant in your day-to-day, bring it for festivals. No one wants a smelly armpit when they're in a mosh pit. Bringing a first aid kit, tissue, toilet paper is really important. You don't know when you're going to go to a portaloo and there's not going to be any toilet paper. And baby wipes. Baby wipes are your best friend at a festival. You can use them to clean up any spills. You can use them to clean yourself if you don't get a shower that night. And they're just a really good multi-use product. And you can have them in little bags, a couple with you when you're walking around the festival, so you don't just have to have them at your campsite the whole time. Okay, next on the list, you want your glasses and your contacts for sure. And you want to have some business cards. You want to make some friends, you people to get to know you. It's a great networking place at festivals. You can find new friends. You can connect on social media. You can also hand out flyers to your next party, your next event, whatever you're going to next, advertise, get these awesome new people to come along. And then, of course, you want toothbrush and toothpaste. And it does really pay to have floss as well. You need a floss every day, so don't forget about it at a festival. If you want to be kissing any cute people, you want to make sure that your breath is as nice as possible. And having a spare grocery bag, a Ziploc bag, things like that don't take up much space, but actually make such a big difference when you have them, to be able to be like, cool, I can use this for a rubbish bag. I can use this for my wet togs. I can use this for my wet towels if it rains. Always bring extra towels as well. If it's going to rain, that's going to save you when you need to mop up your tent, when things are getting wet, when you're getting wet as well. And a beach towel. I have this really cool beach towel that has got a built-in bag with it, and it's super easy, super comfy, it dries really fast, and it's super useful. What's next on Earth? Earplugs. You 100% need earplugs, 200%. You want to get some that are great for sleeping, and you also want to make sure you've got some to help with the sound at the stages. Sometimes it can be way too loud and it's so bad for our eardrums, and I also really like them if I'm feeling a little bit overstimulated. You can put in your earplugs, it blocks out all the outside noise and can just make you feel a little bit calmer. And having a little butt container, whether you're a smoker or not, it always helps to have something just in case there's someone that needs it or something, just just so we're not littering on the ground. We want to make sure that we're protecting the environments as much as possible. Make sure that everything you take to a festival, you bring back with you, and you respect the land, you respect the festival owners, you respect this place, and you put in that little bit of effort to make sure that you're leaving no trace. Festivals can actually be really bad for the environment, the waste they end up causing, all of that. So it's important for us as festival goers to protect that as much as possible. And of course, you want a headlamp. You can just walk around and you've got light, making sure that you've got the bathroom. And you want to make sure you have little lights and stuff like that for around your camp. And having a cup and a water bottle is always so good. You can refill it. You can use a cup for multiple different things. And a frisbee. I love having a frisbee because it's so useful, especially if you're in a small tent where you have to walk your stuff into a festival. You can use this for washing your face. You can use it for fun. You can use it for nose spares. Making sure you've got socks, underwear. Always bring spares of these, especially socks if it's going to be raining, and always bring warm layers. Warm layers are one of the biggest things people forget at festivals, and it's so silly because it might be super hot during the day, but it gets so cold at night. So always make sure you have your extra warm layers, having a jersey, leg warmers. Make sure you bring some winter thermals, and that will really help. And flip-flops or jandals, as we call them in New Zealand, or you can have sandals like I do. And then also making sure you've got some closed-toed shoes to make sure that you're protecting yourself at night. Boots are ideal, that come up a little bit high to protect your ankle, and something that's going to be really comfy that you can wear for 12 hours if you need. And you also want to make sure you have costumes, of course, and rain gear, making sure you've got gumboots if it's going to be raining. Definitely have, otherwise some boots are pretty good at it. Okay, we are on to the food and drink section. So I like to have a meal all ready to go for day one, whether it's a sandwich or I might get like a poke bowl on the way, and then I make sure that I've got that to eat for day one. And then having things like liquor, beer if you drink beer, any RTDs. If they don't allow you to bring them into a festival, you can put them into little bottles and slide them into your tent, roll them up into your tent, and find ways to bring them in like that. Alcohol's really expensive at a festival, so you want to make sure you're sneaking in as much stuff as possible. And then you also want to make sure you have extra water as well if you can bring it. If you're in a van, you can bring a lot more stuff. It's also a lot easier to sneak stuff in. And then you want to make sure you're having things like mixers, making sure you've got all your vitamin C, your electrolytes. Electrolyte powder is really good. Making sure that you've got any sort of juices, vitamins. And then food-wise, if you're in a tent, you want to keep it quite easy and just having things like trail mix, maybe a little bit of fruit for the first few days that can get a bit squished. And then I really like these little fizz sticks by Add-On, but you could have some espresso shots in there, like little cans of espresso or anything you drink like that. I love the Powerade active water, and they also have no ingredients in it. If you're taking any substances, it won't dim down your experience with them, so you won't waste your money on substances by having too much vitamin C. And then candy, chocolate, gum, lollipops are quite nice to suck on if you get a kind of gross taste in your mouth. And any group snack foods and any instant meals is always really good too. And of course, we need things for fun because that's why we're at the festivals, right? We want to have fun, we want to have a good time, we want to party with our friends, we want to meet new friends. Having a few of these things will just really help to enhance your experience. Having a camera and a battery for the camera is always good. I really like taking a Polaroid. It's really fun. It's really like in the moment. Or you can buy those new cameras that are like the disposable cameras, but they actually are reusable, which are really great for festivals. And then you can get them printed out at the end and you can see all the memories. And then having a day bag, I really like this pink bag that is quite long and quite deep, which means you can put your water bottle in there, you can put your phone. It's really easy to grab in and grab out. But if you're at a little bit of a bigger festival, you might want something that's a little bit safer, like a backpack, something that you can really lock all your stuff away in. And having a fanny pack is essential. It's so good, so easy to grab your phone out, your earplugs, your chapstick, your lollipops in there. You can keep stickers in there to like hand out to people, and then having hula hoops, pool staff, any fun toys like that you can play with are always going to be so good. And having wigs is always really fun. It's so good if it rains as well, because then you can just like keep your head warm and you can have cool looking hair. It's really good. Wigs are great for that, but make sure they're not shedding everywhere, because you don't want to end up having little pieces of hair going all over the festival, especially since it's plastic. Unless you have a real wig, but probably don't bring a real wig to a festival. And then you can bring some like little water wings or water toys or anything like those floatable things you can lie on as well. And the water is always really good. And LED toys. I'm going to be talking light up stuff next, because that's always been one of my festival favorites. And then a journal and a pen is always nice, or I really like to have some paper around to be able to write little notes or something, especially if you miss your friends at your camp and you're off having a good time. You go back to your camp, so you can write your friends a little note like, hi, I was here, I'm going to be at the stage at this time, something like that, in case you lose your friend. Having some sort of paints or anything like that you can have some crafting time during the day. You might end up wanting to make something. You might be like, hey team, we really want to make a doof stick for tonight so we can find our friends. And then having little things like instruments or anything like that, depending on how much room you have in your space. And then a hammock is always really fun to put between the trees. It's great for when it's hot and you really just want to have a little bit of chill time during the day. I also love face. It's such a nice way to add some neon paint and all of that and look really cute, especially if you've got some really cool artists in your camp. You can be like, hey, can you give me like a cute little something? And a parasol just to protect yourself from the sun. It's always really good. Having these collapsible bins are so great. And a hot water bottle. And this is the section for the lady. But if you're a guy who likes makeup too, you can totally use this. Or any sort of human being, whatever your gender is. So makeup is always really good. You could keep it a little bit more simple if you wanted. Glitter is always really nice to have at a festival, but make sure you're getting the biodegradable glitter. 100% for sure. You don't want to be putting that around. And at some festivals, they don't allow glitter. So make sure that you check the T's and C's of the festival that you're going to, if you're allowed to have glitter or not. I have been opting just to use face paints instead of glitter a lot more regularly now. But if you put the glitter on really well, and then you make sure you baby wipe it off and make sure you get all of it in there, just to make sure that you're not getting any of that around. Even if it's a biodegradable glitter, it's always good to make sure we're not littering any extra anyway. And then you want some makeup remover wipes, you want face soaps, small face towels, tweezers, nail clippers, nail files, always really good, hairbrush, hair clips, hair ties, a nice scent spray, or I really like this body spray. It's really nice on your face. And then a sarong is always good. You can use it lying down. You can use it to cover yourself from the sun. You can use it to block off a part of the gazebo if you're getting hot. And then any sort of period care that you need. I tend just to bring maybe a tampon or two in case. I don't really wear tampons, so I just bring period underwear. But obviously that's not going to be super cute in all your outfits. So anything that you need for period care, and then a bikini. For sure, you can wear it as a festival outfit, all of that. Festival essentials of vibe. Number 1, pick your crew wisely, or go alone. It's so great if you can go with a big group of friends, but also can be a pain in the ass as well. There's nothing worse than going with people who are gonna kill your vibe. They're gonna not tell you to go off and live your best life, and you're better off to go alone than go with people that are gonna be lame, honestly. And whether it means you're not going to go to the festival or not, you pick to go alone. It means that you're going to be able to go out there, you're going to be able to find your tribe, and you're going to be able to find friends that really resonate with you. If you have a really close group of friends, 100% go with them, but make sure you're communicating with them like, hey, I'm going to go off and I'm going to spend time alone to explore, to find other things. There's nothing worse than taking forever to go anywhere because you've got a crew of 20. You have to wait for someone to get changed, go to the toilet, and you never get to see anything or really do anything. So make sure if you are going in a big crew that you're going off and spending time alone and making new friends as well. Unless you just love your friends and you don't want any more, then go ahead, just spend all the time with them and wait. Be prepared to wait a lot. But otherwise, going alone is so good. You don't have to rely on anyone. You can just go whenever you want. You can make new friends, especially if you're still trying to find your tribe. Okay, light up stuff. We need to talk about light up stuff. This is the most essential way for you to find your friends in a mosh pit. If you have something light up on your head, you can get light up scrunchies, you can get light up masks, you can get light up jackets. Such essential for finding your friends in the crowd. Honestly, you can get so many things light up these days. So sneak in stuff and have backups. You never know when there's going to be a really long drink lines and you don't want to miss the New Year's countdown because you're busy waiting in line for drinks, and you never know if you're going to be in such a crazy mosh pit and you're not going to be able to get out. And it's so handy to be able to be like, cool, I have a couple drinks so I don't have to lose my spot at the front of this mosh and go get myself another refreshment. And make sure you're putting these in different spots. You never know when something's going to be found. So make sure you've got some over here, some over there, and split it up so if something does get confiscated, you have more ready to go. This one is very, very serious, guys. So many people don't do this at festivals and then they wonder why they end up with heat stroke or things like that. You need to drink as much water as possible. Make sure you're hydrating before you go to bed, making sure that you're drinking in between alcohol as well. Okay, now we're on check the lineup. You don't want to miss your favorite acts. You know, we've all done this before where we've gone to a festival, we've got lost in the rave and we've missed the people that we've gone there for. So always making sure you're checking your lineup, put them into your phone. Some festivals even have apps that you can put what you want in. Make sure you're using that, making sure you're being aware of what the time is. That's when it comes back to having a watch. And dress in what makes you feel really good. Dress in things that are going to be easy to wear. Dress in comfy shoes. Making sure that you're prioritizing being comfy, because in the end, if you're going to be super uncomfortable, it's actually going to affect your time more. You're actually better off to look maybe a little bit less cute, just a little bit less cute, and be able to feel comfortable to get through a really big day and a really big night. Okay, so this one is something that when I started going to festivals as an adult, it was very important to me. But things have changed a little bit from that depending on the type of festival. And now I'm a festival performer. I tend to spend a bit more time at my camp having downtime so I can be prepared for on stage. But don't spend too much time at your camp. Make sure you go into the festival and you enjoy the time. You go to the bars, you go to these places and you enjoy being there. If you're just going to be sitting at the camp with your friends the whole time, you might as well have just almost gone camping. You know, I used to always think that what's the point in spending $400 or $500 on a ticket, sit there with your friends at your camp. But now I go to a lot of burner festivals. You know, we make these big theme camps and stuff like that. I make these like big decadent camps. So I tend to spend a lot more time at my camp just wanting to chill with my friends a little bit and eat properly. Make sure you're fueling yourself to get through it. Sometimes you think you might need another drink or another bump, but really you just need some food and some water or a nap. It can be so easy to go so hard at a festival and burn yourself out, but that's not going to make the day super fun. And taking it easy, eating before you go to bed, eating when you wake up, and fueling yourself is going to help you have such a more enjoyable time. And sleep. Make sure you sleep at least 4 to 6 hours. That doesn't seem like very much for a normal night's sleep, but making sure that you're getting enough adequate rest is really important. If you're going to be in a tent, you're going to have to prioritize going to sleep at least 4 to 6 hours before the sun gets up, because you're going to have to get up when the sun gets up. If you're in a van or something, you'll probably be able to sleep into about 11, but even in a van, it gets so hot. So making sure you're prioritizing sleep so you can get the most out of your time. Having all-nighters seems super fun until you're a few days in and suddenly you're burnt out, you're grumpy, and you need more drugs and more alcohol to even get through. So do not do that. Make sure after this you check out my journey into being a professional festival performer. I've made this checklist into a PDF for you guys. So if you go down to the comments or the description, you'll be able to join up to my community and get that sent straight through to your inbox so you can have everything ready for your next festival. Thank you guys so much for watching my festival essential checklist and guide. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got some good tips out of it. Make sure you comment below if you have any tips for us as well, or for me. I'm really glad I finally have this platform to be able to share these tips and my festival journey as well. So make sure you go check how I transitioned from a festival goer into a raver into a festival performer. And remember to vote love every day with your words, your actions, and your thoughts. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye.